Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate. We're back again with another preview video. This time we are previewing a brand new expansion to the game Commissioned. This time it's Commissioned the Call right here. And this is an expansion that adds quite a bit to the base game of Commissioned. Adds new scenarios, new characters that you can play, new cards that you can include in both the Trial deck, the Faith deck, and an even new component called the Chains cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at it on the table and we'll explore the differences that you get with Commission the Call. Alright, so I have Commissioned and Commissioned the Call, the expansion to Commissioned, on the table here. And let me go over all the new things that you will find in the new expansion. Let me also remind you that everything that you do see here is prototype, and the final artwork and components may look differently after the final product is released. Without further ado, let me show you the new things. First off, you do have a solo play player board that will allow you to play Commissioned and all the base scenarios and new expansion scenarios in solo mode. If you want more information on this, you can check out my solo playthrough video that I did on Commission the Call by clicking the I in the top right corner. Or you can check out the Kickstarter campaign page, as there is the embedded video there as well. We also have two new apostles in Commission the Call. First is Priscilla, and Priscilla's cards allow her to remove prayed chain cards, which we'll come back to what that is here in a second, or select and last share before mature to let all players draw 2 highest faith cards from discard to mature. So it allows other players to retrieve cards from their discard pile. The other new apostle is Phoebe, and Phoebe's cards allow her to remove the new Fellowship Stop tokens, which we'll cover what those are here in a second, or add +1 board effect. And what that means is the other prayed card that turn will be doubled, essentially. So for instance, if the other prayed card was, say, James's card, which allows you to add 1 movement, if Phoebe's card was the other card selected, you'd get to add 2 movement. Some of the other new things that you will find in Commission the Call are new faith cards of all of the different point varieties, such as the 1s and 2s, 3s, and 4s. These new faith cards will allow you to deal with the new tokens that you will find in Commission the Call, but also help you when just playing the regular base game as well. You also have new trial cards. These trial cards introduce new ways in which the apostles are going to endure trials and hardships, including the new mechanic of chain cards. Chain cards work very much like faith cards, except they're negative. They will go into your faith deck and you will draw them into your hand, and they sort of work like the thorn in the flesh, if you will. But these chain cards give you an option when they are in your hand. You can choose to pray them, and every time you do that, you're going to lose up to 4 church members. But for every church member that you cannot lose, you're going to place out some sort of fellowship or some sort of stop token, whether that be the new fellowship stops, mission stops, or growth stops. If you choose not to pray these cards and you hold them in your hand during mature, you are going to get -4 faith points. So as you can see, that is going to doom any chance or hope that you might have of being able to purchase a high value faith card that round, if any faith card at all. Now you do have another new deck of cards that are going to help you in dealing with these chain cards. These are the Restore cards, and how these cards work, another player will draw this card for you and read you some sort of narrative with a choice at the end of it, such as, will you offer to train someone else or step in to give it the attention it deserves? And you'll have to choose one of those 2 options without knowing what the results are for you. And as you can see, there is a result that affects the player reading the card to you, as well as you yourself. And you get different things depending on the choice that you make. But these Restore cards allow you to remove chain cards from your hand. Lastly, we have new scenarios in Commission the Call. The first scenario is Passing the Torch, and the Passing the Torch scenario allows you to experience what it was like for the apostles as it was time for them to pass the torch on to new church members, training them up to become missionaries and to guide the church on to the next generation. And the way this scenario works is you have to go throughout the land dealing with these different division tokens that are going to be placed out on churches each round. And these division tokens come in 3 different varieties that are the same as the new as the stop tokens. So the growth stop, mission stop, and the new fellowship stop tokens. Essentially, you're going to want to go throughout the land trying to defeat these divisions because they will extinguish your church if you're not careful. And once you defeat it, you gain the token, and you use the token along with word cards to be able to train up new church members to become new missionaries. And you have to get a certain number of missionaries to be able to win that scenario. The other scenario is Council of Jerusalem, and the Council of Jerusalem scenario involves these new legalism tokens. These legalism tokens kind of spread like the plague throughout the churches. And so it is your job as the apostle to go through the different churches and to correct faulty thinking and legalism, trying to remove these legalism tokens off the board before they spread too far and corrupt all the churches. The final new component are these fellowship stop tokens, and these fellowship stop tokens work similar to the other stops that you find in the base game, except these stop tokens affect growth. They don't stop growth like growth stop tokens do, but what they will do is that once a church grows, if it has a population of 3 or more, for every one of these fellowship stop tokens, they're going to lose a church member. So as you can see, that is going to extinguish churches very quickly if there are lots of these piled up on churches. So you've got to take these off the board. That's pretty much it in Commission the Call. As you can see, it covers the whole spectrum of the game between new apostles, new cards, new scenarios, new tokens. There's everything here in this game. Let's head back up top and we'll share our thoughts on what we think about Commission the Call. All right, we're back. And right now we're just going to share our thoughts on Commission the game and Commission the Call and what we like about both of them and the differences that you'll experience with Commission the Call added to your base game experience. I'll go first and let you guys know that Commissioned is one of my favorite cooperative games, mainly because of how much theme oozes out of this game. From beginning to end, the mechanics that are included in this game just ooze with theme. It helps you feel as though you're living out the New Testament. There's danger around every turn, panic every time you have to flip over a trial card or roll the prayer die. I mean, this game is just so much theme and so much intensity. Commission the Call adds that to the nth degree. It makes the game so much more sweeter with that theme. It makes you feel like you are kind of right there in the church having to deal with the quarrels that must have went on there in the first century church. With the new fellowship stop tokens, you just get that feeling of, oh my goodness, there's so many problems. How are we ever going to, deal with this all? And having to just rely on your faith and in the game, that plays out through strategy, strategically placing yourself and getting the right faith cards, which on that, the way the new Faith Market deck works out is perfect. I think that's a perfect addition to really help you play out your strategy all that much more. There's a lot to like with Commission the Call that I feel like just really builds upon the base game, which was already a great game in and of itself. This just takes it that much further. Sam, what did you think about the new additions of Phoebe and Priscilla to the game?
I always like when you add some female characters.
Figured you would like that.
When we played, I played as Phoebe, and I think the aspect of her being able to communicate through prayer, and then that can be turned off, so you can't always... I like the fact that it's a cooperative game. I tend to like cooperative games, and I think that's kind of the best way to start with non-gamers, because you can play together. But at the same time, when you can't communicate, you kind of have to quarterback it a little bit, and you have to know how to play.
That stretches your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah. But it was good. I really like the game. I think it's a great a great theme. I think there's a lot of families that may be looking for more Christian themed games, and I think this hits the spot. I think, you can really have an idea of what the apostles went through, and creating churches and spreading and everything like that. So I think it's a good theme, and they do a very good job of incorporating it into a game. It's not just pasted on.
Right. I think that you said it great. It's not pasted on. Commission the Call, for those of you who are very maybe interested in the biblical aspect of it. It takes more so of a setting after many of the churches were already established, and it explores different elements such as legalism or divisions in the church that we know took place based off of some of the books in the New Testament, the letters Paul wrote about, and how there was favoritism or issues over circumcision and all those different things that we know about. Commission the Call takes a look at that and what it must have been like being an apostle or missionary back in that day and age, and just trying to make sure that these young baby churches survived in such a difficult time with the persecution that was already going on.
And a lot of them didn't.
Well, yeah, and the internal struggles that went on in the church. If you read the flavor text throughout the rule book and on some of the cards, you really get a feel for what Patrick and Catherine really wanted to deliver in this game, and that being a dive into the historical experiential experience, for lack of a better way of saying it, that the first century Christians must have went through at that time.
Yeah.
Just a very cool experience, especially if you're a Christian, or even if you're just a history buff and you would like to know more about what that whole time frame was like.
Yeah.
This is just really, really cool experience. I've played the base game with my pastor before, and I am definitely going to play Commission the Call with him as well. And after I played the base game with him, I haven't had a chance to do the call with him yet, but after I played the base game with him, he was very much of the mindset of, this is something that all Christians should get to do, especially if you're going on a mission trip. We were on a mission trip at the time that we did that. And, I would have to imagine that Commission the Call, again, I know I've already said this, but takes it to the nth degree. The experience that you got from the base game just builds on it, and there's so much to like with Commission the Call. It is challenging. I'm going to go throw that out there.
Definitely not for our younger players.
Right. This is a game that takes a lot of strategic thought. And it's one that you will play the first time, or at least my experience with the base game, and definitely my experience with Commission the Call. You play it the first time, and you kind of feel like, whoa, this is really hard. How am I going to get through this? How are we ever going to win? You play it again, and you're like, okay, I start to feel like I know what I'm doing a little bit more. You play it again, and you start to see how there are ways that you can win the game, and how you can overcome just that wave of panic that kind of comes with each of those new problems that come up each turn. And so Commission the Call does increase that difficulty a little bit, but the challenge is always fun. And again, the fact that it is just so thematic, you want that challenge, you want to experience that difficulty. And so I love Commission, and I just love it so much more with this new expansion to the game. And so that is Commission the Call. At least I do anyway, I recommend it be a game played between gamers and non-gamers, Christians and non-Christians alike. Sam, what would you say on that? Would you recommend that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is on the difficult end of the scale, but I think the fact that it's cooperative, I mean, it does make it more accessible to non-gamers.
And it's not a hard game to understand.
No, it's not. It's just, there's a lot of components to it, and I think it just works better as a cooperative.
Sure. All right, well, there you have it. This has been Commission the Call. It's on Kickstarter now. You can check out the link in the description of this video to check out that Kickstarter campaign and decide if you want to back it for yourself. We are Love to Hate, and we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. And as we've talked about, Commission might be a game that could do that for you and bridge that gap so you can bring more people to the table and play games with you. All right, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate. We'll catch you next time.